Hello, everyone, to this and our Thursday weekly webinar here at HeyGen. And I can't wait to get this thing started in this webinar because I'm not alone today. I have Chris with me, and trust me, this will be very exciting and informative here this weekly webinar. It's awesome to have you here, Chris. Before we want to start, maybe just introduce yourself with 1-2 quick sentence, because for everyone here, Chris is not just a founder and not just a great partner for HeyGen in our community. Also, he's well educated in the AI space. And actually, this is the content he is providing. Chris, maybe one sentence in the first sentence, heating up to you.
Sure. I'm Chris Daigle. I'm the founder and chief AI officer of chiefaiofficer.com. And I'm here to educate you guys on how we're leveraging tools like HeyGen in our content creation process.
This is amazing. Chris is not just helping his own community, also our community and our clients when we really want to automate some workflows. Chris has a great understanding. It's not today just about HeyGen. We will also include other tools here. But I think it's important that we are transparent how this works in the backend for some of our partners and even for some of our clients. So I want to make this very quick here, this intro. For everyone who's joining for the first time, we are providing and give everyone 5 free credits at the end of the webinar. Nice. This means actually you have to create a free account on HeyGen and then just fill up the type form we will provide like at the end of this webinar. And you just apply for this. And we will send within 48 hours this 5 free credits and add it to your account that you can start with HeyGen to create anything you want, your first AI video. And that's pretty amazing, I have to say. So everyone who's joining us every Thursday, they know it. But for everyone who's new, let's do it. So this is one thing. Maybe we can also right away share one link actually from your social accounts, Chris, that everyone have maybe a better understanding who you are, or maybe follow you. So would love to see everyone follow Chris. And then I would say we can actually start. But I can see, Chris, that's amazing. Before we start, we have Italy. So people from Estonia, Colombia, Germany, Netherlands, USA for sure, Canada. So everyone, please let us know where you're from. India. So Chris, we have every Thursday a very international group here and community. And I love this. And I really want to understand where's everyone from. So please tell us like where you're from. And I would love this. We have one switch in our weekly webinar, and it is the questions you have. We will collect them and answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. So if you have a question, please let us know, write it in the chat, but we will answer at the end because we have a presentation today. I actually don't want to disrupt here, Chris, because it's very informative. So Chris, tell us maybe one more thing, like what actually, when, why, what was the reason you reached out to AI tools? Why, what was the first intentional thing? And also like why HeyGen at the end?
Sure. Thank you for that question. For us, we educate, train, certify, and provide software for people who are going to be leading the generative AI deployments. So a big part of what we do is we educate. That education a lot of times involves me running people through demonstrations or being in front of the camera and educating them. And as you can imagine, with an AI product, you're going to constantly be updating some of that content because of the change and the speed of change that's occurring in the marketplace with these tools. And it just wasn't realistic for me to stop everything, set up the lights, test it was prohibitive for us to be able to continue to make those updates with video, but my preference is I like to make the connection with people, and I feel that video is a great way to do that. And the clients that we've got tell us that it is. So using HeyGen has allowed us to very rapidly update our course content as changes occur in the marketplace. I mean, 5 minutes versus 5 hours. So that was the main thing that I was looking for.
Yes.
We tested other tools out there, and I was uh, underwhelmed, I guess. And
Yeah.
HeyGen has been our go-to since the very beginning. As soon as we found HeyGen, I'm excited that there's new things that are rolling out. We test everything that you guys are doing and apply it where applicable for our business.
Great. So if someone really wants to start with HeyGen, like what would you suggest? For sure, like join one of your courses, or like even like have one like as your blueprint book, have a read on this. But like what would you really think is HeyGen solving? Like what is the need that HeyGen really solved for you as
Sure.
like a founder of your business, but what is also the feedback you're getting from your community?
Yeah. The main thing has been for those who are using video a lot in their marketing or their education or their internal communications for their company. This has been a huge game changer for them, because instead of huge production costs, a large commitment of time and staff to produce those videos, once our avatars are built, and I think we run 6 different avatars within our HeyGen account. Once those avatars are built, um, we can ideate and execute very quickly on a new marketing message, or, as I mentioned, an update to the course. And that has been one of the biggest things that most of our clients that are using this have said. It's the the accelerated entry into the market of new video content that they can do, while they're having lunch instead of having to go to the studio. That alone has been truly priceless for us, because it's not about the cost. It's been really about the time. I'm a founder of a startup business in the AI space. Nick, you know how fast things move here. Uh, we don't have like long lunches and things like that. Like we're in the
No.
office, and now the video is no longer like, it's not a choice of, if I'm going to do video, what do I have to say no to? I get to do it all, and produce high quality videos for our clients.
Yeah, I would also like one question or like one feedback I get a lot is actually, hey, that's a great tool when I would have something to do with video, or it's not a perfect fit for my business. And then I'm sometimes a bit smiling. It's like actually persons like or like educator like you, actually this is a perfect question for you. It's not like right now an individual question, but it will lead to an individual question. We are always showing what you can do, but
Yeah.
for sure there are people out there that say like, hey, I don't know, I have this kind of business, and I don't even know, like I would love to use my like an avatar or like create multiple videos in different languages, but I don't even know how could I use this. So I think this is also one of your mission. You will not just like talk about general, you will also go to this individual use case and say like, hey, this is actually 3 really good reasons and good channels for you where you can start with a tool like HeyGen, but also other tools. And this is actually also how you could do it. So you will also set this up with a user, with a client, and then you will really show them how it works and how you could automate everything. Is this true? Is this correct? Or I'm just talking here randomly things.
No, it's very accurate. And one of the things that we hear a lot is that exact thing. Well, I've never used video before, and my business is doing fine. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. Like there's a number of, I don't have time to set everything up. Like some of the excuses I made. But here's what I can tell you is that if you are familiar with marketing, then you know that people like people that they know, like, and trust. Video is an excellent way for them to get to know who you are and your brand and what you stand for. It's a great way to build rapport, one to many. If you're not using video, you're missing an entirely, like, one of the most powerful modalities of communication with your audience. So I would say we don't use it. We don't need video. I would question that. And here's what I'd tell you as a marketer: test and see what happens. Marketers always we're looking for the results based on data. And if you're not doing it, I would encourage you to, especially HeyGen makes it very easy for you to create maybe not the best avatar on your first try, but I think that if you go and you make an effort, you'll realize, hey, that was pretty easy. And it's just with anything with generative AI, it's iteration, and it gets better each time that you use it, each time that you play with the tools. So
Yes.
there really should be no reason for somebody not to at least test, how does my audience react to me being on video?
And this is a very, very good point. Like I have a lot of in our community, like, hey, this is, I'm not very satisfied with my avatar. And I was like, okay, like, is it your first one? Like, give me a bit more like content here, insights. Why? Like, and yeah, it was my first one. And it's like, okay, I get it. Hey, here are some tips and tricks where you, or how you could actually improve this avatar. I also had a webinar actually. You can see this in our YouTube, HeyGen, in this live section. There is like all of our webinars are recorded, and I did one of these kind of videos, how to make a better avatar.
Nice.
Or how to improve it. And I can do for sure like a new one, like just let me know please in the chat, but have a look and you will see and understand how you could improve your avatar. I think we also have different type of slots for the avatar. So I also think that if you know how to use your avatar or how you want to use your avatar, you could set up different type of avatars, and even with different outfits. And then it's even more easier to use this, because then you can also act like this. So, and yes, for everyone, we are on it. We will launch this expressive avatars, but our mission is accessible to all. So I don't just want to create this for one or two avatars. I want to do it for everyone. And this is our mission. And we are working on this, that everyone can use expressive avatars. So with that saying, Chris, you have a presentation for us. So I would love to get into it, and
Sure.
Please guide us through what you prepared for us today.
Sure. So primarily, I'm going to be focusing today on how we're leveraging generative AI for our content creation process. We're an educational company. Whatever your company is, you should be generating content. That's how your market. I learned this process a long time ago. You can't educate and sell at the same time. People will put up, it's called critical factor. Now, how you get the critical factor bypass is you tell people, hey, I'm not here to sell, I'm here to educate. Your content strategy is a great way to do that, because people don't feel that there's pressure. They feel that there's authentic information being shared with them. They don't feel like there's, oh, here comes the pitch. They don't feel like they're being manipulated. So if you're not creating content in your marketplace, and look, I get it. For years, I did not create content. It was a lot of work. It was too much work, actually. And that was one of the reasons that I didn't do it. And it seemed like, oh, it's long tail. It takes a long time to do that. So this is the answer and the solution to all that. So what I'm going to show you today is essentially the new paradigm of content creation. So what I teach is built for non-technical business professionals. If you're a techie, great. You're going to still get plenty out of this. I'm not that guy. I'm not a data scientist. I am functional on business operations and computers, but I'm not building custom applications. And what I'm going to show you.
This is a great point, and you will show us this now, but you don't have to be like any core engineer, coder, whatever. You don't need this to get started with this AI tools, or even to how to really set up like this on automational workflow. So please give us this look here.
Sure. So I want everybody to understand that we're actually in a new paradigm. That horses and cars, right? It's not like, oh, there's a new category of horse. It's like the cars kind of made the horse obsolete. A quote that has driven a lot of my pursuit in business has been by Buckminster Fuller. And he says, you don't win by competing in the existing paradigm. You create a new one that makes the old one obsolete. If you're not leveraging generative AI tools in as many parts of your business as you can, you're truly operating in the old paradigm. And as this statement says, the old paradigm is becoming obsolete. This is it's not a novelty. It's not like, oh, this would be fun to use. This is necessary. This is mandatory. And the reason that we do this is because, hey, look, We teach people how to use generative AI in their business. We have to use generative AI in our business. So that's what led us to those tools. Now, for us, I'm going to show you our content process. Please don't be discouraged or scared. It's robust, yes. Complicated, no. When we launched our podcast in January, I needed to get more leverage and distribution from it, right? If I'm going to do the effort of sitting down and scheduling the calls and having an authentic and genuine conversation with somebody who's taking time out of their life to be a guest on my podcast, I want as many people to see it as possible, right? Because I had a friend who was the COO at WordPress, and he told me first-time founders focus on content, second-time founders focus on distribution. If you're on this call, skip that and go straight to the distribution and understand that the more people that see my message, that hear our business's message, the better for our business. So back in January, we started a 6-month experimentation. And the goal of that experimentation was, look, anybody can plug something into ChatGPT and they can get output. Is the output any good? There's a saying that it's synthetic output. My goal was that, look, if we're going to use these tools, it's critical that our content and our output does not come off as synthetic. That wouldn't impress anybody about the capabilities of generative AI. So for 6 months, we worked on how do we repurpose our podcast content, but in the process, make sure that it's human-like, that it's platform specific, and we've done a fantastic job of it. So as I mentioned, like what we needed the video in particular for the quick changes and the quick updates that occur because we're following this market. Now, again, it may look complicated, but you don't need to be a tech head to pull this off. So the generative modalities that we primarily focus on are AI for text generation, AI for speech generation, AI for video generation, and then AI for smarter workflows that it's great if you know the tools, but that automation, that smarter workflow process is really where the power comes from. So for us, the AI for text generation, and that's simply like leveraging a generative model to create whatever your purpose is. It could be content, it could be sales copy, it could be ad creative, whatever. The tool that we recommend and we use internally is ChatGPT. Market leader. I mean, they've got very accessible price points for this. And we teach chief AI officers, and that's an individual who's the recognized expert in the business. Like, you need to be able to dynamically ideate, strategize, get the information that you need from these models. So it really becomes a linchpin tool. And one of the things that we like in particular about
could it be that for sure for different, let's say, like maybe purposes or like industries, maybe a different large language model also works, like Anthropic or like even an open source model, anything? Or because I just want to mention this because I want to be transparent here. And yes, we are partnering with OpenAI for sure, like we as HeyGen. But I think it's also really true that for sure you could also work with a different type of large language model, right?
100%. Now, the reason that we pick specific tools is because paradox of choice. People go out in the marketplace and they're like, I need to do this with Gen AI, but wait a minute. When I do a Perplexity or a Google search, there's 15 results here. Where do I start? They all generally will deliver the results, but for us, we find it easier to just say, look, if you're getting started, use this tool. Once you get the basics, explore, find the one that works for you. Now, what I hear most often, though, is for creatives, they enjoy the output from Claude, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a creative. I'm using the LLMs really as my executive team, like the support, the advisory.
Right.
So for me, I'm getting the ideation, or I never look at a blank page anymore. I always go to ChatGPT first. Now, I use Claude and I use Gemini a little bit. But for me, it's kind of like you find what works.
Sure, 100%. I just want to be like very overall here. So, okay, so this is text. What's next? It's speech.
Next would be speech. So for us, we use custom GPTs a lot, and those are tools that exist within ChatGPT. And we use one that actually rewrites content in my voice. So that, again, my target and your target as well should be, I don't want the market to think that I'm using AI to do this. I want I want my content to be human-like output. So that's what we do there. AI for speech generation, it's simply text to voice, and we've been able to leverage that to in a number of ways. The tool that we are using now is 11 Labs.
Also, a great partner from HeyGen.
Yep.
Just like quick note here for everyone, like even if you are in HeyGen and you want to maybe use a different voice you already created on 11 Labs, yes, there is a third-party integration at HeyGen that you could use your API key from 11 Labs, and you have access to your library from your voice, and you could connect this to your avatar. I just want to mention this, Chris. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly how we use it, right? I'm not creating much in 11 Labs. It's 11 Labs integration with HeyGen is truly where the creation comes in. Although we do use it in our automation process too, and I'll kind of walk you through what that looks like. We use for audiograms. We leverage it for now these audiograms. My native language is English. I promote primarily in the US, so it was very easy. However, the opportunities exist for all of us to leverage these tools to open up international markets. And in our case, that
on
was
a recent episode of the Using AI at Work podcast.
So that's not actually my voice. That's 11 Labs. For the voice, though, Spanish market, the Latin American market is a place where we're really looking to get some traction.
Yeah,
we're leveraging the tools now for. Let me see if I can get that to work. There we go.
En un episodio reciente del podcast Using AI.
Okay, so you get it. It's doing it in Spanish, right? So we're able to use these tools, and this is all automated, folks. I'm going to show you how we're doing it at the very end, but we're using all of these modalities to create a very robust content catalog that's well done, professional. But I want you to understand something. I shoot the podcast, I turn this over to my team, and because of these automations, leveraging tools like 11 Labs and HeyGen and ChatGPT, we're able to get about 120 pieces per episode that are multimodal, as you'll see, that are platform-specific, human-like output, and it takes about 5 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. So we've done a very good job, but now keep in mind, we spent 6 months really tweaking this stuff, dialing in it. So,
en un episodio reciente del podcast.
Now, AI for video avatar generation. For us, that tool is HeyGen. We've tried other tools. Look, if we were just like sitting on a plane and sharing a drink, and I'd say, look, don't even worry about the other ones. I'm not saying that just because I'm on here. It's not about that. It's that. And hell, the reason that I reached out to you, Nick, was because of how impressed we were with what we're getting for HeyGen. And we train individuals to go out to companies, and we want those individuals to go out to companies. Go ahead.
And also for you, I mean, if I look to our first meeting back in the days and the first result, it was not perfect, but we got into it and we had a better understanding what your needs was in first place. I educate and teach you how HeyGen really worked. And now you could provide this information to your community, to your users, that everyone will succeed. Maybe not in the first place. Yes, I get it. But maybe right away on the second take. And this is actually what we really, want. And this is why we are so pleased to have you in our community, and you provide information to everyone. Because for sure, I can't do like 1,000 calls a day. It just doesn't work. But one day, and I would say maybe already next week, maybe it's a preview to our next meeting, webinar here, but maybe I could have on my Google Meet or Zoom an avatar from myself. I don't know. Maybe let's join next Thursday. But sorry, I was interrupting you.
Nice. The streaming avatar? Nice.
Yes.
So it's important for me when people come through my program, I want them to have best practice. I want them to know, like when they go into the marketplace and represent as an AI expert, that they've been trained on the best that's out there. And they get trained on HeyGen. So my people that are coming through and getting certified as chief AI officers are learning a software stack that is the best options out there for them. And that's what really led us to HeyGen. And some examples for us, one of them was, again, testing episode consumption out of our podcast outside of the US. Now, in this case, this was an early test for us, but this was...
Aujourd'hui, je suis ravi d'accueillir David Gonzalez, un pionnier.
Now, that was not my avatar. That was actually me live, but using HeyGen to create that that translation. That now Chris speaks French. No, but
Aujourd'hui, je suis.
now here's an example of us using it within our course. You can see this is actually another wardrobe change in my avatar world. So for me, as I mentioned, we teach generative AI strategies. These things change on a weekly basis. And to have a course that would get outdated in, every time there was a new update was not an option for us. Now, when something changes, it's very easy for us to go in and avatars, update our content very quickly. This is,
Hi, and welcome to a defining moment in your career, the start of your journey with the chief.
and I mean, these are so good. Honestly, I look at some of these and I don't remember shooting them. I don't realize that it's even an avatar, or listen to the 11 labs. I don't even realize that that's AI generated.
Maybe you can just play this video again. I think it was rendering, so nobody really could have the. So maybe we can.
Hi, and welcome to a defining moment in your career.
Yes.
The start of your journey with the Chief AI Officer Certification Program. I'm Chris Daigle, CEO and co-founder.
I also think what people really have to understand, users, our community, like new attendance here to this like new AI space, not just for 11 Labs or like ChatGPT.
Hi, and welcome.
Sorry.
Also like from HeyGen itself, you are able to reach out to like more multilingual like communities or like
huge.
other countries. Like it's not just like, yeah, wow, but I can speak like maybe some people in first place doesn't really get this like time efficient or like cost effective. Also like, yeah, my avatar can speak like my own language. That I get it, but I can speak this as well. But yeah, but now you could also reach out to 20 different nationalities or countries because you can talk and speak in all these languages. So it's even an add-on. And if you automate this, oh my God, I mean, there is so much potential here. And I would love to see more people trying this out for their own business use cases or for their own social channels. So I love this. I see this every week, every day, every hour, how people are using HeyGen and even include HeyGen in a different workflow with different tools. So it's just like great that you showed this. Perfect.
Yeah. And no, that alone, if that's all it did was allow me to now enter markets where I don't speak the language, I think at this point we've probably calculated that it's almost doubled the total addressable market for us by being able to do this. And it takes minutes. Once I shoot the core video, it takes minutes. One of the things that we're starting to use a lot with HeyGen though is this URL to add creative. We've tested with almost all of the influencer avatars that you've got here. It's been fantastic. If somebody is a user of HeyGen and you haven't tested this one functionality, one of the most impressive new releases from HeyGen for me was the ability to plug in the URL. And in this case, in this demonstration here, it's for, we wrote a book called The Chief AI Officer Blueprint. And I was able to take the Amazon URL, pop that in here, and now I've got.
Curious about integrating AI into your business? Then the Chief AI Officer Blueprint by Chris Daigle.
I think you have to just
it's the ultimate
do it one more time.
Sure.
Just because it's a rendering a bit.
AI into your business, then the Chief AI Officer Blueprint by Chris Daigle should be on your bookshelf.
This is professional quality output. I would think that if somebody showed me this, I would think that, oh, they had the team back there, sweating while they were building this thing out for them. This took, the rendering time was a minute or so. And now I've got a level of advertorial, like edutainment, I guess, that I'm able to put out into the marketplace. That again, I'm looking for human-like output. Folks, I don't want you to look at our stuff from Chief AI Officer and go, oh, if somebody identifies it as synthetic, it's maybe their value associated with that content drops because they're like, oh, somebody didn't do this. This right here, like I feel very comfortable putting this kind of stuff out into the marketplace. So
curious about
now the bigger part. That's great that we've got these tools and we're doing these things, but if we didn't automate it, it would end up being it'd be faster, but it would still be a lot of work. So what we've done is I kind of referenced that at the beginning, folks, when I showed you our process. But one of the things that we looked at is for each part of our content creation process, I asked, can we automate it?
I think I just want to, Chris, I just want to show this real quick. So this is the interface of HeyGen itself. So you can see the screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what I wanted to show is everyone, like here on the left side, there is like URL to video. I think I'm actually sharing the wrong one. So here's URL to video. So here's actually where the magic happens. So you're uploading or including like a link. You're providing some like assets if you want to, but normally it's just one link and all the rest like HeyGen is doing for you. So you can test it out with URL to video here on the left side in the interface. I just wanted to show this.
No, it's incredible because here's what I didn't have to do. I didn't have to come up with a script. I mean, I literally pasted a link and let it generate. And then that, like you saw that, and it's so good that I feel like I've got no issues putting that out into the marketplace as a representation of our brand. So for us, we look at each part of this process. Can we automate it, augment it, or AIify it is what we call it. And it's essentially, that is our step in doing this process. And how we do that is with any process that we want to, in our case, it was the content creation process. If you haven't done this before, process mapping, I would suggest you do this. Whatever that process is that you want to turn into AI powered, and hopefully it becomes your content creation process like what we're doing, simply sit in front of your computer, turn on Loom, and verbalize as you go through that process. Take that transcript, put it into the LLM of choice, and say, hey, take this transcript and please create an SOP. It'll do that. And once you've got that SOP, you can start to look at, at each step, do I automate, augment, or AIify? So for us, you record the process on Loom, you get the transcription, you can prompt ChatGPT directly, or I'm sure there's custom GPTs in ChatGPT that'll do the same thing. But before it goes into production, we always encourage a human review just to make sure that no steps were missed. Now, what that looks like for us in the content writing and drafting of social content, this is what that process ended up looking like for us. Again, this was simply, it came from a Loom. There's a couple extra steps, but they're not technical. Remember, like, I don't know how to code anything. I know how to follow instructions, watch a tutorial video, and use the tools and iterate my usage of them until I get the output that I'm looking for. So this example for us, for writing this social content, we mapped it out, and it was about 2 hours per week for the content that we were creating. Upon automating that process, we took that from an hour and 55 minutes a week down to, and this is if we were, it's actually faster than that. As I mentioned, we're getting this done in about 5 minutes now with this tool stack that I'm about to show you. So what that tool stack looks like for us, we could go through it in detail here, but I'd probably lose you. So what I'm more interested in doing is showing you what best practice looks like for an AI-powered process. And then I'm also going to give you some tools. If you see here, each of these like kind of dark blue images, those are internal process maps that we've created. So rather than you having to go and do this, if you want to start experimenting with using generative AI in your content production and content redistribution processes, we've already kind of mapped those out, how we do it, and we're happy to give those to you for free. We will be posting a link in just a moment. I think that link is right here, chiefaiofficer.com/scaling content. Now, the map that you see is constantly getting updated based on tools that we've got. There's a couple of nodes on there that, based on a conversation with Nick, that I wasn't aware there was new functionality in HeyGen. We're going to be kind of tweaking what that map looks like to take advantage of, again, the best practice of the tools that we've got. So, Nick, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. I hope I didn't go through that too fast for everybody.
I think the idea was really like not just like showing what HeyGen is doing. It's also like what actually, not just your service, but an overall understanding that there are tools out there. Like I would say thousands of tools, but like, hey, you could use and choose your favorite one from each of these different type of styles or like industries or like business, and you could connect them. Actually, you could create a workflow.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, oh well, now I have like 10 tools here and it takes me ages to go to the first tool, create something, and take this one to the second one. You don't have to do it manually. You could really create automational workflows. Chris is one of our partners, and yes, we have more for sure. Who is like delegating and teaching you how to actually put it in one workflow together, and that you can see the results very, very soon for your business or for the purpose you are reaching out to Chris. And this is what we want to show today. And for sure, HeyGen is a big part of it, because Chris, video is the future and it's still here and it's already begun. So jump on this. It's not just like an hype or anything. Like, look at YouTube, look at TikTok, look at all these different type of, like Snapchat. There are like content, but also with video is king. And we with HeyGen, we have different like tools and products that will help you to create this kind of content. So this is why it's a good idea to subscribe to our YouTube channel, but also don't miss out like every Thursday webinar when we are not just talking about new features, but also talking about the products and the use cases from our clients, or like even showing how to start with HeyGen in first place. So I would just think, let's go to some questions here. The link for sure, like from the scaling content, is here, so you can for sure have a look. So the first, Chris, what format is used most in your company, short or long video format?
It depends. For the content, we use a lot of long form. I'm verbose, I guess you'd say. But I want to make sure that people understand these concepts. So for me, it's important to have that long form. In social, short form is king, truly.
So here's one question about streaming avatar. If it's just available for enterprise clients, no, it's actually available for everyone. And there is also, we implement like 2 weeks ago, a self-service like workflow. So if you go to the interface and you go to the bottom left labs corner, you will see streaming avatar. And then you could actually start your first streaming avatar end to end. For sure, great, just get started, would love to see you. But one tip for you, next Thursday, there is a streaming avatar webinar actually. So you can for sure join us. So distribution via email for sales can be problematic with file size and security. Any suggestions to solve that?
Yeah, I would say host it somewhere and send a link rather than trying to send the actual file. If you use Loom, they do a very good job of that, where they can give you the link and it kind of does a little thumbnail, but people recognize, oh, if I click here, I'll see that video. That's what we do. We send people directly to that.
Perfect. So the other things are pretty individual. Here's one thing or one question, like, can I remove the background to my avatar? We have different tiers, and in these different tiers, there are different features. So remove the background from your instant avatar will be available from the Teams plan. And yes, there is an option that you can tick this, and then it will be in 4K. And also for sure, you can remove the background. So that's doable. For sure, there is a workaround. I will not lie here, Chris. If you would record an instant avatar with a green screen and do it in post-production, yes, you could do this. But you will need a different tool as well. So we want to make it easy so you could do it right away in HeyGen, that you are being more efficient here on this end. So, Chris, let's wrap this up here. First, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. For everyone, we will provide now the 5 free credits link here that you can apply. Don't forget, you have to have an HeyGen account in first place. It's not working. Chris, like promise. But it happens that some people are fill up the type form and then they complain, I did not ever get my 5 free credits. Then we have a look, and what do you think? They did not have an account on HeyGen with the email address they're providing us. So how can I give you 5 free credits? So please make sure you have an HeyGen account and then provide us this email actually, and we will for sure 100% everyone gets this 5 free credits. There is no doubt about this. So let's just like wrap it up. Maybe you could do it in your own words, because I also want to give you one more time the chance to talk for sure. It's like, what is some, like, what did we learn like today, but also what is someone learning in your course or like even from your blueprint book?
Sure. I think today the main intention was to expand your thought when it came to what's possible, and to understand that by stacking these tools to work together and then introducing automations, which like you can find people on Fiverr that can build automations for you. It's not complicated stuff. That will allow you to open up broad spectrum of bandwidth for yourself to be able to do things that you've wanted to do with your business or whatever. So please think bigger about that stuff. Secondly, use the tools, play with them. Most of the tools out there have free versions. Get in there and you'll find that you've done the hard part already. Your domain expertise about your own role or your industry, that's way more complicated and harder to learn than any of these tools. You could be on HeyGen or 11 Labs or whatever, and within a few minutes be like, oh, I know how to use it. And once you have that, then you can start thinking, in my job, in my team, where can I use that? Right? Like that's invaluable. That's invaluable. But use the tools. They don't help you if you don't start practicing, and don't be intimidated. They're designed for ease of use. HeyGen spends a lot of time, all these generative AI companies spend a lot of time making sure that the tools aren't complicated to use.
Yes.
So,
and also, like, one thing I want to mention at the end here, because it's a perfect fit for this webinar. Like, if you think in first place, like, yeah, it will never work with an avatar, test it out. You will be
Test it.
surprised. You will be very surprised.
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe you should have a bit more knowledge in case of how to make this video at the end more interactive. Yes, there is not such a good, like, I would say, idea. Prove me if I'm wrong, Chris, but just have your avatar 5 minutes speaking and nothing happens actually. You should make it interactive. But HeyGen gives you for sure the ability to have a circle view or put the avatar out of the screen itself and have some animated. You can upload PowerPoint presentation. There's a lot of things you can do, not just on HeyGen, also in post-production, 100%. But test it out. I mean, there is a monthly subscription. You can join HeyGen. You can test it out for 30 days, even for the other tools, and give it a bit time, let's say a quarter, half a year, and you will see the results. It will not happen on the first day, 100%. This is not how it works, but you will be surprised. So thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today. I will also be on a webinar for like Chris tomorrow. I don't know if we have a link for this. Is it, where can we actually have this? That's a spontaneous question, actually. I know.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. And I have the invitation. I think you and I are tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Which time zone?
So yeah, 10 a.m. Central. And if for anybody who's listening, if you're in Austin, we just relocated here. I'd love to connect with you if you're local. And Nick, I'm going to put this link in here. Let me find that. And if somebody does want to join us, Joy, I'm going to send that to you in the chat here. If somebody does want to join us, you're more than welcome.
It's the next step to get really into it, like really to do this. So please follow us and join us tomorrow. Actually, it would be fun. I can tell you already. Yeah. So thank you so much to everyone. Next week we are talking about the latest updates on streaming avatar. There are some really, really pretty awesome releases. I will be not alone. I will be with Dave. I will introduce him to everyone. And also Alec, you already know him. He's our streaming lead and he will talk about this full topic. So please join us, same time, same place, same location, LinkedIn, YouTube, live. Join us next Thursday. Chris, the last words for you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, international group, love to see this. And I would hopefully see you next Thursday as well. Chris, the last words from you.
There's nothing to be intimidated. AI is not here to take your job. It's here to make you better at what you do. The more you get comfortable with using these tools and all of the applications that you can, it only will open up opportunities for you in your career, in your business that don't exist now. This is a huge opportunity for all of us. The world needs people like you who are investing in themselves to learn these tools, to sit on these webinars and bring that back into the companies, because you will be able to supercharge what those companies are doing and they're going to love you for it. So please, understand this is an amazing time for you to be learning this stuff. Learn it and go out and use it.
Couldn't say it better. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great morning, day, or night. Talk to you next Thursday. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.